I will start with XRP, and I'll just start with this chart, yeah. And just I'll go into I'll go just into what's just happened right now in the last couple of hours, yeah. You can see, have it here as well. This arc is, you've got skyline here at mountain peak, and I believe this blow off top that just happened is final peak here, yeah. So you got third spike, you got third drop. So as a pattern is final peak will come down for a final bounce, which will be a correction of this wave. Generally a final retrace, final bounce, final retrace, and then there'll be the move, whichever direction it's going to go, yeah. And last night was a bit of a funny one, because a lot of the times you get to the end of the night, which is here, and normally it's the topping out. So when you get the correction, and then the correction kicks in for the day. Yeah? So normally the last hour or two of the end of a day is a topping out. Where I sort of pulled a fast one last night, I was looking at a 49.5 target. It didn't hit, and I'd got no blow off top. So I held off, thinking that's just suspicious. I don't like the way that happened. So you got two 4-hour candles, and then this snap blow off top. So a little sneaky the way it happened. It doesn't normally happen like that. Normally you get the blow off top the last hour or two of a day, and then it's going into correction. But pulled a fast one last night or today.
Yeah, it was the end of the Asian session. Yeah, Asia put it.
That's yes. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
so
morning.
when I saw that happening, now I jumped in on a sweet short. Yeah. But again, I've got a super tight stop loss, because the price action is very much moving more and more in a bullish pattern. So we got to see where this potential correction is going to go. Yeah, it could just do a 0.5 at 46.5. I think it will go more likely to about at least a 702 at 45.4. Might even get down to a 786 at 45 essentially. Yeah. If it follows along this general line, there's the 702 around. Yeah, I'd say between 45.5 and 45 itself is the potential for this correction. Yeah. Again, if it's just going to do this correction, I'm not going too deep. I reckon around there. Yeah. And then we got to see what it wants to do. So now, if we look at this, is on the arc, the general breakout. If this breaks down, we're coming back down to I'd say around this yellow line here, around 38. Yeah, around 38. However, if it breaks up, I reckon the next target could be around this line here, about 64. 64. And let me explain why. Is on the macro scale. On the macro scale, this is the fib for the whole price action. You can see it was bouncing off the 618 here, down the bottom here. There's a 0.65 touch to the bottom, bouncing around the 618. Is this going to topping out at around 64, 65. It could be weaker, and I'll explain why in a moment. It could be weaker and just do a double top. It might just head up to 56 or so, maybe 57, 58. Do a double top and come on down. Yeah. That's if it breaks out. So if it breaks out and just does a double top, or equally it's a fuller breakout, we could be looking at a 64. If we really wanted to go crazy, we could be looking at about 71. But we'll see. We shall see. Now, let me zoom. Let me do a couple of things here, and I'll show you. If this triangle, this arc, breaks to the top, it's a double top, or we're potentially heading up for 64 or so. Yeah. If it's breaking down, it's because it's this descending wedge here. See these two white lines? It's coming back down to touch around 38 or so. Either way, whether it goes up or it comes down now, it's going to have to come back down and touch off around 38. And that's the bounce that will take it up. So either way, 38 or so is going to be a target somewhere along the way. So I'm going to show you potentially why it's probably going to go up at the moment. And I'm going to use the daily. I'm going to use the daily, and I'm going to use just back testing. So let me just take off the drawings for now. Okay, so if you look at the previous price action, it's the same down here, but this is clearer what I'm gonna show. Yeah, is here's the 50 SMA, here's the 200 SMA, green 50, 200 red. Look when it drops down here. Anytime it clearly breaks the 50, it breaks the 200. Anytime it just breaks the 50, there's a rejection. Look, breaks through, breaks the 200. Rejection, breaks to 200, rejection, breaks to 200. It's only when the 50 and the 200 get so close together, it stabilizes and you get the break up, yeah? The 50 here is well away from the 200, so there's the 50 has quite a distance to go before it crosses over here to get that stabilization, consolidation here for the bigger pump. But if you look again, it's bouncing on top here. When it breaks through, breaks both. No test. It breaks. It's after breaking the 50 clearly here. So again, the indication is that it's going to break the 200 here before it comes back down. Yeah. Simply because it's cleared the 50 here and it's done a consolidation. So the potential is that it bounces up and does a double top here. Maybe even hits the 200, but more likely it's probably going to have a wick through. It's going to have a wick through, yeah, more likely, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at, yeah. So now when I look at the pattern here, I'm still confused about on the place in the pattern. Are we here, heading for a lower low, a final drop, which we haven't had in this. Unless you count this as the blow off bottom. But then this is the blow off bottom that lets everybody consolidate and buy at the bottom. Is the whales all the way here have been selling off. The big money has been selling out of the market. So it doesn't make sense that they'll sell out at the bottom. What it makes sense is they'll sell out. They're selling out here so that there's one final wipeout, and that's when they begin to buy back in. So they're not buying back into the market. They'd start to buy back into the market along here. They're selling out here. So that's what makes me think that there's another dump coming. Just a basic logic of that, yeah. However, is if this was the bottom, here's the consolidation, If you look at the pattern here, this is a double top pattern here, and this you could say is forming a double top potential pattern. Yeah. Oh, we could be here. You see my computer. We could be here heading for this, and then back down. Anyway, so you can see where I don't know. It's just I find it very difficult to believe that we haven't had one of these and that we're not going to get one. It just doesn't make financial sense from the whale's point of view. Anyway, so let's get back to more immediate things. Is if you look at the drop from here, there's a I'll show you now. There is an arc here. Okay, I think it's actually here. Put there. there's an arc pattern here, yeah, and it collapsed, yeah. So now we've got this one here. So normally what you do is at the highest point, this would be the arc. Okay, so this would be the arc, yeah, the triangle. So now we're going to have, let's say, if this is skyline, this is third spike, is a double top first drop, double top here actually, first drop. We're heading up for Mountain Peak. And Mountain Peak normally comes up to a 702 to a 786. So now if we put this here from top to bottom, is quite possible that we could pump up here again. Look, 64, and then here's a skyline, first drop, resistance peak. So now here is where Mountain Peak would make sense at 64. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're getting our pump up to 64. So could it go higher? Yes, it could. Yeah, look, it could go all the way up to 71 here. Could it do a double top? It could, but I don't think it will. But it could. But either way, we'll have our topping out, and then we're going to have our correction. Yeah. So that's the argument for the lift, that we're going to have one final pump here, and then we start coming down for third drop, and again we'll have our 38 touch here. Yeah. So that's most likely, when I look at it, that's what's going to happen. Yeah? So now when we zoom back in, and we're on the daily at the moment, is you can see the daily is turned into a reversal, and when we go to the 4 hour, again you can see the 50 SMA here and the 200, is you can see the way it's bouncing along here. So the correction is most likely potentially going to bounce off this 50 again, yeah. And if we give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many, but you're still looking at around 40, 45, 45 and a half. And again, this could be the final touch, and then we get our pump, yeah. We get our pump up to potentially double top, most likely at 64 or so, yeah. That's what it seems like as it's playing out. We'll need to watch it here. I'll be setting my target. My target of 45 at the moment. I might put that to 45.5, and then I'll be looking for a reversal here. I'll be looking to catch in on my long and head up for that target. That potentially could be a pump of 40%. That would be fantastic. So now let me zoom in. Let me zoom in to actually the EMAs for now, yeah. Just to look at this reversal. What would we need for the EMAs to reverse? You can see the yo-yo of the VWAP. See the yellow of the VWAP here? So there's last night's back up the price action. You can see it was pushing down here and then come up, and now it looks like it's come down again. Very seldom does the VWAP change from support to resistance so fast, so snappily. It doesn't normally behave like that. But I think that could be an expression of the transition from a very clear break from the bears to the bulls. The bulls are starting to take over, you know. So anyway, so there's the 5 EMA crossed over. So look, there's that drop down now. On this top right, we have the 15 minutes. So we would need to see the 15-minute crossover as well to get that breakdown. Equally, bottom left is the 30-minute. I'm not sure about whether the 30-minute would need to cross. So one of the things I'll be looking for here is want to see the 15-minute break. Potentially the 30-minute here, bottom left, the 20 here, it may turn down, and you may see something like this. See the way the 30-minute here gets to the 55, there's a rejection, and then it pumps up. Now if the 30-minute breaks, it's still helping price action get down to a reset. Bottom right is the hour. So you can see how, no, that's actually the 4 hour at the moment. Excuse me, let me put it to the hour. You can see how the hour here may again come down to the 50, but not cross over, turn around and pump, or cross a little bit and pump. So for this correction, the hour doesn't have to cross over very much or at all. If we look at this now, so here's the hour. Here's the hour here. Okay. So here's the hour. I'm going to flick to the 2 hour. So you can see the 2 hour crossed up. The 3 hour crossed up. And the reason why I'm doing this is we're going to the 4 hour. Because remember, on the 4 hour play of things, look, the 20 came down, got a rejection, lifted, came down, got a rejection, lifted. Again, we could be coming down, if we don't get the rejection on the 1 hour, I'm watching for the 4 hour, that the 4 hour may come down, get another rejection, and then pump up. So that's what I'm watching for, is that one of these EMAs between the 1 hour or the 4 hour is going to turn around and pump again, and that will be the signal for that final lift. Yeah. If they start to collapse, turn down and start to pull, break down with a bit of vigor, then it looks like it's heading down in the opposite direction. But it really does look like it's going to pump before it has its correction. Yeah, it definitely looks like that. But I'm still just cautious of it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so now I just go to this one for a moment. These are a bunch of new indicators that I've been playing with. Yeah, bottom right here is on the 4 hour. Bottom right, there's a bearish divergence on the 4 hour. So again, that's indication that there's a clear correction coming in. Yeah. And you can see there it was on the last top left is this one here, the correction. There was a bearish divergence, and again, bearish divergence here it looks like our correction is going to happen. Yeah, and equally bearish divergence there. So we're definitely in for our correction. Is over on bottom left is, again, without going into too much of what these are, because I'm not sure whether I could fully explain them. I'm still getting used to them. But you can see here that there's a topping out on the 4 hour, so there's a reversal down here. Is what I'll be looking for is this to come back down again, and when this goes into the green, I believe we're going to be bottoming out, and we get our final pump. Yeah. If this comes down and loses its bottoms out, turns around and starts coming up again, that's an indication that it's going to do another reversal and push down even more. Yeah. Again, it's a form of the stock. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about them because I'd have to explain it more clearly, and I can't. I'm just watching them at the moment, and I'm watching the patterns, and I'm watching how they behave. Yeah. When I get more confident in them, I'll explain more clearly what they are. But it's interesting just to talk generally about them now. It's something that I'm watching. Is now here is, let me move these out of the way for a moment, is just with the drawings. Yeah. Basically, here's the range. These two yellow lines are the range that I'm watching for. Yeah. So again, looks like we have our correction. Here's a correction around 45 and a half. Is if it starts breaking below 43.75, then there's a stronger push coming in. Again, I'll be looking to go long here and pull this stop loss below here. Where at the moment I'm in a short, and I've got my stop loss just above here. Yeah. So now, if we start breaking below 43.7, is we're breaking out of this channel, and just very simply, just a very simple channel. Take this here like this, and we put this here, and what target does it give us? So there's a 39.36, yeah. If we take it here, and we put it here, again, this is giving us a double top target, yeah. Now remember, that would fit in. That would fit in with I'll do it here. That would fit in with, if we are in this part of the pattern, is it does a double top, and then we'll come down for our 38 or so. So this is where I'm a little, you know, possibly a double top is in. Now also is, if you look at this support line on the previous bull run, if you look at this support and resistance line here, now look at the relationship on this bull run, is look at this support and resistance line here, is price action is after coming up and topping it again. You see here, price action is after coming up, and after heading to a big drop below, price action come up and touches it, yeah. First time it touches it, look, there's a rejection here. First time it touches it, potentially again there's a rejection here. It might not get above it. So we could be getting a double top. We could be getting this back to a reset for 38, and then we have our push up to the next level. Then we have our push up to 90 or so. So this is its first time to test this. And, you know, last time got rejected. When we look at this, the history of this one, again, this is the first bull run. Is you can see many times dropped, many times it got rejected before it had a drop, and then it finally broke through. Okay. Anyway, so back to here. So I know I'm saying a lot. I'm saying a lot. I'm really just tying up my options. Is you can I'm showing you where I am with the potentials. Yeah, is you can see the boundaries here. Is what I'm really not sure about. I reckon it's going to go up. I'm just not really sure about whether it's going to do a double top or head up for 64. 64. So that's the one. That's what I'm not sure about. Yeah. I would be surprised at this point if it came down and broke lower, came back down here first. I would be surprised if it did that now, yeah. Excuse me. But the range I'm looking at is, for the breakdown, is 43.75 and up is 48.79. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about, remember, this is the first time I've said that, so I might have to say it again, is I'm going to hide the drawings, and I want to take, there's the indicators there. Now, this is what's confusing me a little bit, yeah. And this is where the indicators are a bit challenging on the MAs, yeah. I think because we're in such a transition is on the daily, the daily, all the dailies changed yesterday. The 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Yesterday, they all changed, yeah, and they all showed signs of resistance, yeah. And then price action went up. It peaked and it hit its target today, and again, looks like we're in our correction, yeah. However, look on the 1 day. Look at the stock. The stock is coming down. Well, this has gone up the last 3 days. The stock is coming down, yeah. So that, and then the MACD is coming down as well. So these guys are showing resistance, but yet price action is going up. Yeah, is the RSI bottom left? The two on the bottom left is this red line here. This bearish divergence on the daily. Is this bearish divergence hasn't played out yet? It hasn't corrected yet, is what I'm trying to say. So here it is here. In price action, the bearish divergence is here. So, okay, you get bearish divergence and you get a pump, you know, and then generally, once you get a blow off pump, generally you get the correction. This bearish divergence hasn't corrected yet. It hasn't come back down. And the fact is, it looks like it's going to go again before it does come down. So, to me, that could be an argument for it's just going to get as far as a double top rather than an extra pump, because this bearish divergence still has to correct itself. Equally, the daily bearish, the daily RSI is topped out, and it looks like it needs to come back to the bottom. Yes, there could be another blow off top before it happens, but you can see the dailies are all encouraging it down. Yeah, so that's where it's a little bit confusing with price action at the moment. I'm going to go to the weekly just for a sec. Is the weekly what could be pushing things along more, which is affecting everything, is that look at the RSI or the stock RSI in the week. Look at how high that is there. So now I'm going to show you something that I was back testing. Okay, maybe I'll do it here because you can see the RSI more clearly on the weekly. Okay, and I'll just do one. This is worth showing, yeah. And I'll do price action there. There we go. There's the weekly, yeah. So now this is really very interesting. That's the 1 hour. Let's go to the weekly. And I'm going to put it on log. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now watch what we're going to do here, yeah. Is look how high this is. And I put a line here on how high this is on the weekly. Now this is all of XRP's trading history, yeah. So this doesn't happen very often. In fact, this height of the stock on the weekly has only reached this level twice before in its history, here and here. Okay, so remember we were looking at the previous patterns to trying to recognize where they are. Okay, well here, if you look at this here, it's this part of the pattern. So this suggests that in the pattern previously, the bottom's already in, and there's the bottom, here's this sideways, here's this sideways. Now we're in this lift, which is a double top, and we're in this lift potentially as a double top, and that this is going to be a double top before it starts to do a correction back to 38, and then setting it up for the pump somewhere along the way here, yeah. So you can see, now watch how this behaves here. You see the price action here. See how this behaves? You got the lift, so you got the lift, you got a correction, and then you got another lift, and it tops out, there's a double top, and then it starts to head down. The weekly comes back to the bottom again, and it's setting up for that bigger pump, yeah? Okay, so now you can say that this is a similar pattern, okay? And the reason being is that you've got the lift, you've got the lift here, you've got the drop, it's not as defined, but you got the drop and you got the lift to the same height. So it is similar because it's got the pull down here. It's just this did a much sharper drop, where this came down here and did a lot more sideways, but it's still similar. You can also say it's true of here, okay? You can also say it's true, and this is the only time it broke it higher, yeah? You've got the lift. Now again, this is the start of XRP, so it's much more volatile. You've got the lift, you've got the drop, you've got the lift again. So I would suggest that you can see that the drop here, the lift, and again it comes back to reset the previous top. It comes back to touch it, and then it takes off. So even though this seems different, it's not. It's actually the same pattern playing out. It's not a double top, but it is a top, and then it comes back and resets, and then you get the pump. The same here. Look, a double top, come back, resets. Here's the previous top. It comes back and touches it, and then it takes off. So here, potentially, again from the stock RSI on the weekly. So the weekly, and you can, if I start looking down here, you can look as many times it touches this, and it can be different scenarios. But when you hit the top like this only the third time in its history has got this far, and it's indicating that this is going to be a double top. Then we come back and it resets itself. So we've got a bunch of sideways as it comes down, and then we're going to head off, and that's when we get that bigger pump. And that bigger pump will bring us up to that next level. Brings up to 90 or so. Yeah, it may even take us further, but 90 or so anyway. So that's what it looks like to me. So that's why I'm taking the time to explain this. Is when I zoom right out and I look at the peak patterns here, that's what that's telling me. Yeah. Now we'll see if it happens, but that's what I will be looking for. So now my trading strategy is back to this. Is I will be looking for a correction here. Let's put this down here. Back to the 4 hour. There we go. Here we are here. I'm looking for my short here. Then I will be looking for my long, and I reckon my long I will be looking at a double top here. And again, I'll watch for the formation and the pattern. Yeah. And I reckon that's where it's going to be. It might go further, but I think that's where it's going to go. And then we're going to have that drawn out. Is we'll get a retrace, and then we get a drawn out phase where we could have a number of weeks where it's just taking its way down, sends everybody to sleep. Everybody goes back to sleep a little bit, and then it turns around, and then one day we just pop off, and that's when we start to have those moon shots, those really big pumps. Yeah. So that's me. Look for a bottom target here of around 45.50. If you start to see the reversal on the EMAs, could be a good time to go in on the long, and generally a target of I'll set a target for about 55.50, but I'll watch it as it's going up to see how it behaves. Yeah. And if I see it topping out again, I'll be looking for my short, and I'll be writing that down. Yeah. So that's me for today. I know I was talking a bit and trying to feel things out. I knew what I wanted to say, but I was searching this out the last day or two.
Have you found it?
I think I have. Yeah, I think I have. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you know what really?
72 hours later.
Yeah. Well, do you know what really did it was when I zoomed out to the week. I looked at the weekly and thought, look at that stock. That's outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
It can't have gone that high many times before. And I said, okay, do a quick look back. And when I looked back and I looked, I thought, okay, it's a clear signal here.
Yeah.
On the weekly.
Yeah.
So that's when I said, okay, let's tease this out a little bit more. So that's what I think. I'm going to hand you over to Mihaela now.
Hello everyone. Let's have a look at the lovely pump we've had on the SPX. This week started with a bang. It started with so far we've got a beautiful up candle. Now let me go to the 4 hour on the SPX. Now the stochastic on the 4 hour on the SPX has reached the top, but the regular RSI hasn't. Now why am I starting with this? Because crypto is 70% correlated to what's going on in the SPX. I'm going to switch to the DXY as well to see the formation that we have there. So there. He was laughing at my monotone yesterday. Do I anticipate another lift today? We might get another lift to the top of the Bollinger on the 4 hour on the S&P, because generally when it goes past the midline of the Bollinger, the top line is the target, and as it looks, we seem to be on track for that, and that would take the regular RSI to the top on the 4 hour, and the 4 hour is my main time frame that I'm keeping an eye out on for both crypto and the S&P, because it's the perfect connection between the 1 hour and the daily. The 4 hour is that transition that shows us which way we're going. Now, is there more push in this? Absolutely, and I think that I'll show you on the ETH and the Bitcoin levels where it could go for the next level. Could there be a top out? Yes, it could. At the moment, we are not talking about breakout levels for either Ethereum and Bitcoin, but we are talking about support. The way, for instance, the S&P got above the midline of the Bollinger, which is the 20 MA, that's the way Bitcoin and Ethereum have found some local support on the bigger time frames as well. Now I will change quickly to the DXY. So we've had the DXY in this ascending channel that broke out into an ascending wedge. So I'm gonna show you the one day big picture. So this was the ascending channel, and it actually broke out upwards, and at the moment it's on the daily it lost the support of the midline. Now the DXY, if I'm checking the response that it has to the Bollinger historically on the daily, once it gets below the 20, it touches the bottom line. So here touched, here touched, here touched, here touched. One of the few rare occasions when it hasn't touched it is the previous one, and I believe that it hasn't gone to touch the Bollinger here at the bottom because it's found support on the top line of this channel. That's why I kept, this is a very unique structure for me to chart. So I've kept the same channel, but I've added an ascending top line, so to say. So because they work very harmoniously together as they are right now. Now, the DXY is inversely correlated to crypto. So if the DXY pumps, the crypto dumps, and if the DXY dumps, the opposite. So if we are in long-term shorts, as I am right now, what I want the DXY to do is to pump. And I'm looking at the 4 hour, and yes, the day would indicate more downwards movement. And I believe, like, I'm looking at this channel, and if I were to look at any other asset in this channel, I'd say, okay, we are doomed to drop down out of this ascending channel. Like, this has been going on for a long time. To be more precise, March 2021 no, that wasn't the year of the pandemic. Was it the year of the pandemic? No, 2020 was the pandemic, I believe. Jesus. I think 2020 was the pandemic. Yeah. It wasn't just a year, it's 2 years. Yeah, it was 2 years. Wow. So yeah, this is when this channel started. Now on the daily, absolutely, there's plenty of space to come down. On the 4 hourly though, the 4 hourly, which is what I'm interested in, because I am in a 4 hour short on Bitcoin and XRP. So that's the time frame that I'm watching that short on. The DXY has bottomed here on the stochastic and the regular RSI. So, and it is making a recovery. Now, what would be extraordinary for my short in the coming 8 hours would be to get this price action above, well, it's not a price action for the US, this index, to get this candle or one of the next 4 candles above the midline of the Bollinger on the 4 hour, because then the top is more likely. So it looks like it is building a little bit of support on the 4 hour. but and it is holding, and it would indicate some rehabilitation. If we're looking here, this is what happened when it rehabilitated from the 4-hour bottom here, the same. So a nice little lift, one more lift, that's all I'm asking for, which would work with one more dump for crypto, and then heading on upwards from then onwards. And again, for the dollar index, it's the dollar can't stay at this value forever. There will be measures put in place to regulate its price because it is getting too expensive. So a dump in the DXY is very likely. When that will happen, it started yesterday, and we did have our lifts yesterday, but it also found some support in the past 8 hours. So let's see what happens. The stochastic on the 1 hour is maxed out, but the regular one isn't. So again, I don't wanna give this too much 1 hour attention. What I wanted to show you was that that it is looking like it's found some support on the 4 hour. I would be happier if I could see, if I had seen this here on a support line, because it can also go up and to the midline, get rejected, and then push down. So we might see that as well. I have seen that in crypto movements. Okay, now I'm going to start with Ethereum because it's a little bit clearer in structure, especially on the 15-minute. So Ethereum did these beautiful spikes to the high. It's back to its regular behavior. I remember seeing this a lot on Ethereum. It did a mountain peak higher than Skyline, just a little bit higher, which would be great for a reversal to the downside. Like, this is typical market maker behavior. Spike the high just by a little bit and then pull it down. On the 1 hour, Ethereum has the support of the 200 and the 50, and the 50 is coming up. So again, there might be a bit of a battle here. If I am to put a fib on this swing, with the 702 being again a conservative level, 1297 coming back to here, which is a support and resistance line for this arc. So that would be it, and it would work great. Now, there were loads of games yesterday. It was a very volatile day. It broke down out of the channel. So if I am to show you the 15-minute, I was watching it. So it broke out of the channel, it stayed along it for hours, and then did a final blow off top, and then it started coming down. Now, what is, again, for further reference, because I have seen this with Ethereum, and it's a great little tip to know in the future. Once Ethereum stops touching the top line in its lifts, it's indicating a drop. So these are all, when these candles close like this without having touched the top line, to me it's a signal. The bulls, I'll call them the bulls, it's still the same market makers. The market makers pushing the price up are losing force because they can't reach that top line anymore. In terms of the reversal, though, we have the support on the 1 hour, we have the support on the 4 hour, we have the 20. The 20 hasn't yet crossed above the 50 yet on the 4 hour. And what is, to me, quite, I won't say worrying, because I know you're in short, so it is good for the shorts, is that this has gone so far without back testing the 50. So if I were, because things are looking quite uncertain in the market at the moment, if you are in a short and you are, let's say you've DCA'd and you're not okay with the level of risk, I anticipate a retrace down to the 20 or at least the 50 on the 4 hour. If this swing up is to continue, and if we are going to have a lift out of this bear market, which to me seems very, very little likely, but I have to mention it because it is a possibility. If you're not okay with the level of risk, I would close a part of my position here and then let it run. Do I believe this is going to head down? I have to, the general answer is yes, but on the local trading strategy, I would be looking for confirmation. What is the confirmation? Breaking the M2, ETH at the moment, that's why I started with it, because I like the clearer picture it's painting. It's below the pivot point. It's holding below the pivot point. Next, we have the 55. I believe this is the 55 EMA band. Let me just check. No, it's the 50 EMA cloud. So it's the 50. I use the 55. So I would love to see it break this 50 EMA and then this 200. And I know I am saying a lot in terms of confirmation here, but we are in a very we are in a place where it can go both ways, and we need to be okay with the level of risk that we're taking trading. So it would be good to de-risk some of your position if you want to follow the short down with a little bit less stress, because I believe it will be testing the 50 on the 4 hour. That would be the healthiest thing to do. That would be the healthiest thing to do for this swing to be sustainable, because as is, this swing is not looking sustainable. Not to my eyes. When that happens, so when the 50 gets tested, the 50 on the 4 hours, 200 on the 1 hour. So when that gets tested here, what generally happens is that if it holds, the channel changes size, so it becomes a wider channel, and we will do something along these lines. And again, it's a beautiful thing to see happening in TA. You literally see the range expanding, and this channel can continue upwards, onwards, and upwards for quite a while. And Ethereum loves its big ranges, so we can only hope we are in for a nice long. So if you are in a short and you want to de-risk here, and then if it continues, so if you see the 200 holding for support and price action getting above again the 50, then that means this is what happened, and we're gonna go up to continue this swing to try to turn the 1400 into support. So this can happen too. I will be looking at the stocks right away. So that's what I wanted to mention to you today. This possibility of a more shallower retrace, a backtest of the 50 on the 4 hour here. So a backtest of the 50 on the 4 hour, and then a continuation upward. That can happen. In order to see, because we've gained so much support, and I'll switch back to Traders Reality, because we've gained so much, when the week started on Monday, I saw Monday as a day of catching a breather, and then at the end of the day, continuing downwards, breaking through the fragile support that it had gained, and moving downwards for the rest of the week. It didn't happen like that. I didn't imagine it would go up so high, and now we are above major points. We are above the psychological levels. We are above the M2, and until a while ago, an hour ago, we were above the pivot point. So we need to see these levels break to have a confirmed push down lower. And I'll show this to you on the 1 hour space. I'm basically saying the same thing, but in different charts. The pivot point was right on this line, this yellow line that we set on Monday. Now and the 20 on the 1 hour broke, which is great for the downwards. Now we need the 55 to break and hold below it, and then we're gonna come down to 1280, which is which would be the 1280 would be a little bit lower than this support and resistance line. So right about here would be the first. There we go, the first level in this. Here it would be, yes. Yeah, so it would be bottom, first level up, second level up, third level up. So first level up, 1290. So that would work with our count. And then of course from then onwards, we need to see the previous bottom break. For a lift to happen, we need to get out of this rectangle box. We haven't yet. Again, Ethereum is clearer in its intention than Bitcoin. It's not holding the support for so long, and it hasn't broken out of here. So we haven't broken out of the 14. We haven't broken the 1400 line. Once we do, I believe we're going to have the 15 as a target. But we need to see the 14 turned into support for that to happen. Now, let me check the 4-hour. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Now, the 4-hour has had the EMAs cross. The 20 crossed over the 55. That is generally a big pump. The exception to that is if it happens after the move has had its impact. So, for instance, here's where it crossed, it lifted up and then crossed back down. Where is it? There are not too many. Ethereum is stingier with the crossings than Bitcoin. Here's where it happened. Went up for 20 hours and then came back down, breaking the previous low. Now here it's crossing up. We've yet to see if this crossing will hold. At the moment, it's not holding this yellow line, which is the pivot point. But once it holds it, if these EMAs continue to push higher, I believe we're going to see a lift towards the 1500. And you will have to manage, if you are in a short, you will have to either de-risk now when it's doing a small correction, or put a stop loss so that above, for instance, the 20 on the daily, watch it, or put a stop loss, because it might do an almighty pump and you want to be on the right side. So even if you have to take a loss, when you have that level confirmed, you can go into that long and do a nice, go with it and make even more than your stop loss back. Okay, so let me summarize this. Short time frame, this is the swing that we've had. It's very abrupt, very high up, without any massive retracements, and it is a 1-hour swing. The 702 right about here would be about 1300. The minimum correction that it might do is the 20 MA on the 4-hour. So this swing needs to correct in the short term. The 1-hour needs to correct, the 4-hour needs to correct, and then we'll see from then onwards. If the 20 on the 4-hour holds, we might see the 1400 level turned into support and then continuing up to the 1500. Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, hasn't yet closed on the daily 20 EMA, so the trend is still down. Can it do so towards the end of the day if it does the correction? Yes, but at the moment we're talking about still a downtrend, and the stochastic on the daily is turned down. So I see both sides happening. I tend to think there will be more of a downside movement, but I am looking in my XRP, my Bitcoin trades, to de-risk at today's retracement. So I wanna follow the shorts with a little bit less pressure in terms of the size of the position. And when this swing corrects, I will close some part of my trades, take a little bit of profit, and then continue to follow it. And if I see it coming back up, I'll keep you posted today, because we will see a lot of movement along these MAs for sure. And if I see it turning up and holding them for support, it's preparing, revving up for a lift. Now let's see Bitcoin on the daily. Bitcoin on the daily met the 55 EMA yesterday, and it closed again above the 20 EMA when it closes above the 20 MA for the second day in a row, the narrative changes. There's a bullish, it's not a bullish trend officially, but there is a bullish flag, as in a signal. So I have rarely seen this being held, except for this consolidation, but this being held with conviction without a lift. Now, it's also got rejected here at the 55 EMA, which maybe it's what's needed for another push down. I'm looking at the stochastic and the MACD on the day, and I'm seeing a decrease in momentum more likely, and then a drop. But I will have to keep an eye out and manage my trade as per what price action is doing at the moment, because we're changing pace, we're changing momentum. We've had a lovely lift this week from Monday, way past what I expected, 8.3%. So again, I only hoped it would be a small one, but it actually is holding support, and it is holding the support of the 20. So this is on Monday, when we started somewhere around here. This is where we started on Monday. I imagined it would go up to here, but it went not only past here, holding the 19.5 as support, it actually went to the 20K, 20,400, spiked the previous high, which is great. This is what we want. Like, if we're looking at this as an arc, this might be the double top, this might be mountain peak, and now we're coming down for third drop. There's a lot of sideways in the middle, so it's hard to notice these movements. So there is definite momentum building up and sentiment changing towards the up. I am looking to de-risk and close a part of my short at the retrace today, and I'll zoom in on the MAs to show you where I believe that might be. Again, I'm checking the 4 hours, the 4 hour MAs, because this lift, look how organized it is. It's a very abrupt, consistent, step-by-step lift to the top. A little bit higher than the previous peak, so the previous skyline of the arc, and I will have to redo my arc. This is mountain peak. I believe now this is double top. It makes sense that this is double top somewhere here, and we might be coming down for third drop. Now this broke the 50 on the 4 hour and never back tested it, and I don't think this is I don't consider this a back test, because it just keeps going. A back test is generally a little swing, like a little, for instance, what happened here, back test lift. So I believe the 50 on the 4 hour might be the place where we're getting our retest, or at least the 20. The 20 would be the more conservative target. The 50 would be the more, the deeper one. 20 is the 0.5. It's like, look, they're almost like they're Fibonacci planned. The 20 is in line with the 0.5, and the 50 is in line with the golden pocket. Now Bitcoin likes to do, it's 702 and it's 786. So we might get a day of retrace today if you are not comfortable with the level of risk. And I personally, I am comfortable with the level of risk, but how can I say it? I would be more comfortable if I reduced my positions. So I would be looking to reduce short positions at the retrace today. And if you are in profit, I would be taking full profit. And then watching to see if it builds structure of support on the 4 hour MAs. If these 4 hour MAs break, now don't get me wrong, I still believe this has another leg to come down. So whatever I'm de-risking now, I will be DCAing in on the way down if I see the previous lows get broken, because we've had this lower low, higher low, higher low. We break this low, IDCA, we break this low, IDCA, we break this low, IDCA. So that would be my strategy. But for the moment, the way it's looking and the way it's holding support, if this support, the 50 and the 20 MAs hold on the 4 hour, it's looking like it wants to lift up higher. It is above the 20 EMA. We have to see it for what it is, and it is, yeah, we have to manage the level of risk of our trades. So there's not, it's not worth digging our heels in and saying, okay, I'm gonna take this big position to there when price action clearly indicates that it doesn't want to go there. Not now. So yeah. So the trade, now I'm going to go back to mentioning the trade on the day for both Ethereum and Bitcoin. The trade on the day, I believe, is a retracement trade, a short trade following it down. How far down? The 4-hour MAs will tell us. And the 4-hour MAs are in perfect confluence with our trend lines and with our fib retracements. So let's watch the 4-hour MAs and see where that takes us. I'll also be posting on the chats bigger time frame structures that I have for Ethereum. Here it is in this triangle structure, hitting the top, not breaking it, and now signaling that it wants to come down, but we still need to see the 55 on the 4-hour broken. And the same for this channel. I will show you this beautiful 4-hour channel that we mapped out a couple of weeks ago, and it's still holding. So here it is. Yesterday it got confirmed. Coming back down would be a nice super drop. So and this is on the 6-hour. The stochastic is turned down. Again, I have bigger time frames indicating a down, whereas the smaller time frames indicate a fast recovery and then a continuation to the upside, which the bigger time frames, unfortunately, if you're in a short, can support. As in, the smaller time frames can make bigger and bigger moves until the bigger time frames turn. So we need our local confirmations of breaking of support to make the right or the most how can I say, the most technical trading decisions. So that's it, because it at the moment we are in between two tendencies. That's it from me. I'll be posting this TA in the chat, and if you guys have any questions, let me know. Have a great day trading, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for to see where we are, to see if we've broken support or held it.